All right, so think of dogs. Okay, there's lots of different kinds of dogs. There's golden retrievers, there's pugs, there's shih tzus, there's all sorts of dogs. All right, but they're all dogs. Despite the fact that they have different fur colors and sizes and shapes, they all fall under the category of dog, basically. So we have variables, and there's different types of variables. There's different kinds of variables. They fall into different categories. All right, we need to learn them because we need to know what kind of data they can hold. Okay, some variables can hold people's names, some variables can hold numbers, etc. Okay, you need to learn the different types. Okay, this is what I mean when I say the word type. Kind of means like category, sort of. All right, the first type of variable is a string. Okay, and we've been using string. So for example, let full name equal Jonathan Hop. Okay, so it can hold my name. Okay, so that this full name right here, its type is a string. If you're ever in question, just hover your mouse over the variable, and it should let you know what kind of variable it is. The type of this variable is string. Right, so remember, strings can hold letters and numbers. It's alphanumeric. It's pretty all-purpose. Strings are fairly straightforward. Okay, JavaScript also has number. Okay, so a number can be an integer, it could be a irrational number, it could be whatever you want it to be. Okay, so JavaScript does not discriminate, unlike other programming languages. Some other programming languages you have to like determine whether it's an integer, whether it or like a fraction, or etc. etc. JavaScript just has like a big bucket called number, and that's just it. Okay, so like population of Detroit, which I estimate to be 650,000. Okay, cool. This is a number. Okay, width of an atom, I'm just throw out a number, but just so you can work with decimals, this is a number. Okay, the type of this is number. JavaScript also can handle stupidly big numbers. So like things like you may have a situation where like you're doing like science, right? Like number of stars in the universe, number of atoms in I don't know a sample size. Plank length, so something like really stupidly small or stupidly big. Okay, so if you need like a really, really, really big number, like I just create this big number out of thin air, that's called big int. Okay, that the type is big int. Big int is bigger than what a normal number can hold. So if you want to know what that is, okay, number can hold values up to this much. Okay, 9.007, etc., times 10 to the 15th power, or 2 to the 53rd power. Okay, that's what it is able to hold. Anything above that, or below, so you can also put a minus sign in front of it for the other end of the range. Anything outside that range, you're going to use big int. Okay, it's going to be a big int type. All right, so we've got string, we've got number, we've got big int, we've got boolean. Okay, true or false. Okay, boolean has either true or false. So let's let is rewards member equal true. Okay, so Boolean is for any situation where there are only two options, off and on. They're a member or they're not a member. You accept the terms and conditions or you don't accept the terms and conditions. Okay, so we use Boolean when there's only two choices. Okay, if there's more than two choices, Boolean is not the type for you. Okay, so these are the basic types that you're going to use. You can also, if you need more than one, you can use something called an array. Okay, an array is a list of types. It's a collection of them. So let's make an array. So let rewards members. So let's say you're a software engineer and your client is an online store and they offer members discounts on their items if they are a rewards member, right? So we have a list of people and they're a rewards member. If you're on this list, you get a discount. If you're not on the list, you don't get a discount. So to do an array, all you have to do is square brackets, and then inside the square brackets, you can have a list of things. So for example, rewards members. We're going to have strings. John Smith, Ariana Grande, Larry whoever. So notice I have strings. So I have a string, a comma, okay, and then another string, and then a comma, and then another string, and then you can have as many in here as you feel like. Okay, we're going to learn more about arrays later, but this is just to give you a general sense. You can have an array of numbers. You can mix and match too. You don't have to have everything be the same type. You could add another thing here that wasn't a string. Okay, but here we have an array of strings. Okay, we have multiple strings inside an array. Again, we'll learn later about how to actually work with arrays, but this gives you, you may be wondering to yourself, well, what happens if I have like a grouping of variables. Well, this is how you would handle it. Okay, but back to the types. These are the main types that you need to learn in the beginning. We're also going to learn undefined and null later. So like undefined would be a variable that is not defined. So let's say I just put let A. What is A? Is it a string? Is it a number? Is it a Boolean? I haven't set it to anything. So A is undefined. So let's go ahead and test that theory out. So I'm going to console log A. All right, make sure there's no other console logs in here. Just make sure we can see the one thing. I'm going to save it. Okay, undefined. Okay, it means we don't have a definition for it. We don't know what it is. It has no, there's no value, and we don't know what it is. Okay, so it's undefined. All right, this is a little bit different than null. So let b equal null. Console.log b. I'll save this and run it with node. Okay, so A, we literally have no definition for what this is. Okay, there's just nothing there. Null is like nothingness, but at least B is null. Okay, so like we can sort of, I don't want to say the word equate, but you can think of them as like equal to each other. Like that's what B is. A is literally completely has no definition of any kind. Okay, it isn't anything. So this is if you're coming from a different programming language, this might be a very weird difference or concept, because most languages just have null for like nothing, like doesn't exist, isn't there, doesn't apply, right? Whereas in JavaScript, we can have a variable that just isn't anything, like it's not defined what it is. Okay. If you don't totally get that, that's fine. There will be plenty of chances to go over this when I go into like error handling, like dealing with errors in our program. And dealing with errors will have a lot of what's called null handling. Okay, dealing with undefined and null. And usually they go together like a horse and carriage when you're doing error handling. Okay, but for right now, all you need to really know is undefined means we have a variable, but we have absolutely no idea what it is. Okay, it isn't anything of any kind. It's just there. And null is something, it's null, okay, which still is kind of nothingness. And again, if that bent your brain, you're not the first person. All right, that's it for variable types. We'll talk more about JavaScript in the next lesson.